Hey everyone, I'm back with an update on the computer that I built a few months ago. Just wanted to check in and show everyone how it's going, what I've done with it so far, and how it's running. So, let's see, the first thing that I figured out was how to get the pump to stop making so much noise, which was basically, just turning down the RPMs on the Asus Fan Expert. You can see I was determined to get that to work, so I had to fix my Asus Fan Expert. You can see another video of that if anyone's got the Asus Fan Expert software and they're having programs with it, or they're having problems with that program. Check out my video on how to fix it. So anyways, yeah, using the Asus Fan Expert, I turned down the pump speed, and the pump is quiet enough that I can deal with it. Let's take a look inside the case, because I made a few changes there. So one of the first things you'll notice is that I got a new graphics card. I went with the EVGA 780 HydroCopper because I've never installed a water block on a graphics card, and I just decided to start simple. I've never even hooked up a graphics card to a water cooling loop before, so I just figured I would get a graphics card with a water block pre-installed. So that EVGA HydroCopper 780, that's what I went with. I got a pretty good deal on it. So got it for 600 bucks. So I think that's a pretty good deal for that one. And I'm still just using one radiator, still just going with the Alpha Cool Monster, the 240 rad, and I have it in push-pull configuration, which seems to be barely enough cooling for this setup. So now I'm gonna put the side panel back on, and you can really see how the lighting that I went with comes out. So I went with a UV lighting scheme. There's two UV black lights. There's one on the top, and then there's one on this side panel, and they're both shining in there to give off that UV glow. The fans that I'm using that are the UV reactive fans, you see there's one on the back, and then there's two on the radiator right there. So those UV fans that I have are just the Fractal Design Silent Series fans. And then as far as the coolant goes, that's the other major change I made, is I took out that Mayhem's Aurora coolant because the little particles that give it that sort of glow were settling to the bottom of my radiator, and so they were all getting just stuck in the radiator, and they weren't really doing what they were supposed to do in terms of giving my coolant that cool look. So I got sick very fast of the Mayhem's Aurora fluid, and I just replaced it with just distilled water, and I got silver little thing in the loop to kill the algae, and some Primo Chill blue UV reactive dye. So it's pretty basic setup. Now you've all seen what the computer looks like. Let's show you how it performs. So I'm gonna go over some benchmarks now on Tomb Raider and Metro Last Light to give you all an idea of what kind of temperatures and frame rates I'm looking at while gaming on this bad boy. Okay, so for our Tomb Raider benchmarks, let's see, we have the graphics card is clocked at about 1163, uh, and the memory has a slight overclock. You can see we got plus 145 on the memory, plus 51 on the clock. That puts the clock at 1163, the memory at 3150, and then so this was the temperatures. You can see it was during the Tomb Raider benchmark, which was pretty quick. It only got up to like 38, so the high 30s. It never even got over 40 degrees in the Tomb Raider benchmark. And so that's the graphics card. Let's check out how the CPU did. So we got, let's say it was about a minute long, so that's gonna be about, whoops, zoom in. So we'll cover like, say about this, this was probably about the length of time of the Tomb Raider benchmark. So this was the CPU temps for the Tomb Raider benchmark. Looks like at some point it spiked at probably about the time. This looks like will probably correspond to the time when I was in the Tomb Raider main menu. Was when we had the highest CPU temp. Again, not going over 50 degrees, just in the high 40s. And then during the benchmark, we just had CPU temps in the low 40s. And that was a quick benchmark, only lasted about a minute. So I'm going to run the Metro Last Light benchmark for a little over 10 minutes. And that should give, the CPU and the graphics card time to heat up and sort of get their temperature as high as it's going to be. So we'll check out how these parts do on the Metro Last Light benchmark to give you a better idea of where the temperatures are sitting at. Hey everyone, so I just finished the Metro Last Light benchmark, and so these are the results. First of all, the settings that I used was pretty much everything on max, 1080p resolution, very high, texture filtering 16x, advanced physics, very high tessellation, SSAA on, so pretty much all the settings on max. And I ran it 5 times just to test for stability because, I have things overclocked. So I wanted to make sure that it didn't crash. And, yeah, so basically got, frame rate, average frame rates, about 42 for each one. And let's see, the temperature then on the CPU. Let's check that out. So I recorded it for the duration of the 5. That's basically this whole space right here were my 5 tests, my 5 benchmark tests. So the CPU temp, yeah, was sort of steadily rising a bit and then peaked off about here, just, in the mid to upper 40s. So just under 50 degrees was the peak CPU temp. So we'll say, about mid 40s is where the CPU is running during Metro Last Light. Okay, so now I'm going to go over how my graphics card did on that Metro Last Light benchmark. I had to run the benchmarks again because I realized that I forgot to check. I only, mentioned the CPU temps. I forgot to check the graphics card. So the GPU clock, same as Tomb Raider, was at about 1163. This time our GPU temp, it maxed out at, it was at 47 for just a second. But basically it maxed out at 46. I mean, I guess technically it maxed out at 47, but it was only at 47 ever for a brief moment. So, I would say generally these temperatures from the Metro Last Light benchmark are pretty representative of what I get on my computer. Usually after a few hours of heavy gaming, I get GPU and CPU temps in the mid to high 40s. So that's pretty good. And I would just like to say, as far as the overclocking on my graphics card goes, you see I got plus 51, putting me at 1163, plus 145 on the memory. This is really the maximum overclock I've been able to achieve on this card, which I'm kind of disappointed about, as far as I feel like with water cooling and GTX 780s, I've heard a lot of people getting core clocks well above 1200. So I'm kind of disappointed that my core clock won't go over about 1165. You see, I tried earlier today to really push my graphics card speeds, but I still just have not been managing to get it any higher than this. I'll show you if I go back to earlier today when I was recording my temperature. Yeah, basically you see right here my computer crashed. That was because I had the graphics card at a little over 1200. So then I dialed down the clock speed to 1190 and it crashed again. Dialed down the clock speed to 1175 and it crashed again right here. And so now this is the speed. You see it's been stable ever since. I've been running at this overclock of plus 51, putting me at 1163. So I got a little bit unlucky with my 780 here. It's not the best overclocker, but oh well, as you can see, the games still run great. I get very smooth frame rates on everything, so I can't complain too much. Um, well, I guess that's going to be about it, everyone. Thanks for the interest in my computer, and I will see you all later.